Hello everyone, welcome back to Wills, Trust and More. This is a great show with Eileen, Kerlin and Walsh to talk about lots of things that people should be preparing for. We're at the end of the year, and maybe the topic today, advanced directives, which is pretty interesting, looking at some of the notes that I have here. What we should be doing and thinking about before the end of the year. Eileen, I'm going to let you take it from there.
Thank you. Advanced directives is really just a fancy term for our healthcare decisions, our advanced directions for how we want our healthcare to be managed if we are unable to make those decisions ourselves. And Ron, what I have noticed now over 17 years of estate planning is there are often unexpected, unplanned things that happen. Accident and illness, for example, can strike at any times in our lives. We want to get these decisions in place so those people can have this document in an emergency. If we're lucky to escape accident and illness, we get to older years. That's what we're all aiming for. However, we've talked so many times that Alzheimer's or dementia can often be a real factor in those years. So we want the documents in place should those occur. And if we're even luckier still to get to advanced years without accident, illness, or any kind of Alzheimer's dementia, there is declining capacity. I sit with my 80 and 19-year-old clients. They are simply not as capable or as willing or as able to deal with the day-to-day phone calls regarding their health care, talk to doctors, get test reports, make appointments, get an order. Did you bring the order? It's so overwhelming. And the irony is, at the time of our lives, that we need more help with healthcare, more health issues. We're not as able as in our 20s, 30s, 40s to deal with everything that's involved. So getting these documents in place when we're younger and healthier is just a lifeline. People save themselves so much time, so much money, so much delay in emergency situations by getting them in advance. And as we have also talked about many times, not getting in the place subjects you to the vagaries of a judge or a court to make these decisions. Maybe a family member that you would not choose doesn't have the right disposition. You may even be estranged from them. There are difficult, unnecessary consequences from not doing them. So we believe that just thinking about your health care, the most important thing to you in advance, whom you would choose, getting that into place, simple, inexpensive documents is just a wonderful idea. And maybe if you viewers have often thought about getting some estate planning done, you haven't yet got around to it, this is the time to get started just with your lifetime and your healthcare decisions, who's going to make them for you, and get that legally in writing, in place, so that it's completely covered.
And the document you're talking about is the Durable Power of Attorney for Healthcare.
Yes.
That's the title, right?
Thank you, Ron. There are 3 of them that we highly recommend. Illinois Durable Power of Attorney for Healthcare. This is the document you want to get in place so that you can choose that agent. You can decide who has the disposition, and you have to choose carefully. You want to choose someone who's trustworthy, someone who's going to be able to keep their head in a crisis, someone who will follow your directions even if they don't agree with them themselves, and someone who will stand up to doctors or other family members who want to do something other than what you have directed. So your agent is important. The disposition, someone that you trust, someone that you're comfortable speaking with now about those decisions. Proximity is something I have found over the years that really does make a difference. When I'm speaking with my clients about who to choose, I'll say the personality is really important. Pick the person who's best for the job, maybe not necessarily the child who lives locally. But experience has taught me that the parents or the elderly father who has the daughter or the son close by, it's almost daily that they need this help to make a phone call the insurance company. Proximity, I have found over my experience, is probably more important now. I would recommend over other qualities than I would have said 10 years ago.
And you really are saying that it doesn't necessarily have to be a family member. It could be other.
Absolutely. A family member is often the case if we have a nice close family. Not everyone has that situation. A close friend or a neighbor or someone in your church, a partner often, of course, also. And if we don't have a legal relationship, sometimes even our partner doesn't get to make that decision and it goes off to a family member that you wouldn't have chosen. So someone trustworthy. The only person it cannot be is someone within the medical profession. So you can't name your doctor, you can't name the nurse practitioner. You do have to name someone who has some objectivity from the medical treatment that you're receiving. But you have wide latitude to choose, and you should choose wisely. If you do have that close family member who lives nearby that you trust ultimately would make the right decision for you, talk it over with them. If they agree, get this document in place, and I'm going to help you get that document in place, and we'll talk a little bit more about that at the end of the program.
Okay, Eileen, for the sake of the viewer, asking a question maybe, when would this document become effective?
The document can be effective right away. That's a terrific question, and here in Illinois we do have the option to make the document effective right away. So in an accident or an emergency, your agent can step right in. No one needs to give the authority that you cannot make those decisions themselves. And if you do have that trusted agent, that is absolutely the right point. That's the right box to check. However, not everyone is absolutely certain that their agent will make the right decision. They're not completely trusting that this document might not be used in a situation where they could make their own decision. If that's the case, then you make it what we call a springing power of attorney. And it means that it only becomes effective if a doctor has determined, no, you cannot make your own decisions. You don't know what's going on. Your agent needs to step in. It's a safeguard for someone less trusting. But if you have a trusted family member, friend that you're naming and alternates, we would recommend the option, make it effective right away. And the document states that no one overrides your authority. That's the most important thing, Ron, for our viewers to remember. They are not giving up their own authority ever. And if they're competent right up until 93, they get to make their own decisions. This is just for all of those scenarios that we know happen in life, the accident, the illness, the surgical decision that has to be made that wasn't anticipated because of what has been found. All these circumstances where you're not able to do it yourself, you give someone the authority to do it for you, to act for you, to advocate for you, to do what you would do for yourself if you are able. It's incredibly important, and it feels terrific to get it in place. It's very, very reassuring also.
What I'm going to talk about the reverse situation. What if you go through some life changes and you feel the authority that you gave for this document, you would like to change it and revoke all this? Can
yes.
you do that?
Yes.
At any time?
Yes. This document is completely revocable. You know, we don't update powers of attorney for healthcare if your situation changes or your agent moves away or you're no longer married to that person. We just do new ones. Doing a new one automatically revokes the old one. If you've got to a point in life where you just simply don't want to have an agent, you can revoke it. You can revoke it. Be very careful to take away any copies that you have given anyone. If you've given your doctor a copy, make sure that they know that you've revoked it. They can also be revoked by a court if someone knows that the agent you named isn't acting according to your instructions. So this power isn't absolute. The agent still has to act with a very high duty of fiduciary care for you. But yes, it can be revoked. You can name someone new. You don't have to have one at all. Be careful, be prudent that if you have given a copy to your doctor, your hospital, your nurse, your family members, that you pull those back and then just physically destroy the copies that you had.
So basically, for the sake of the viewers understanding this, that what Eileen is really saying is that you don't make a change to the document, you create a new document, and that voids the previous one.
Absolutely.
Okay, I'm just trying to put it in layman's terms so that people would better understand that. Now, can we just switch gears a little bit and talk about a living will?
Yes, a living will is the second of those advanced directives that we talk about that is part of this conversation. While a power of attorney is really about what you want. A living will is about what you don't want, what treatment you wouldn't want to have in place. The living will is that separate declaration where you say, under certain circumstances, I do not want this treatment to be continued. If it's intubation, if it's artificial hydration, if a doctor has determined it's just death delaying, do you want that to be continued? This decision is not for everyone. It's always difficult. It's hard to talk about. It's hard to anticipate the end of your life. My clients say to me over and over, I had to make this decision for my mother. I do not want my daughter to have to make that decision for me. End of life. Difficult to anticipate, but a reality also. And if we know we wouldn't want our estate decimated, we wouldn't want the lack of dignity associated with living 6 months or a year, just artificially hydrated with no possibility, per the doctors, of regaining consciousness, then we can get this document in place to make sure that doesn't happen. Now, we can make an end-of-life decision like that in our healthcare power, but not everybody can do that healthcare power that we talked about, because not everybody has those agents to name. But everyone can do a living will. It's not about naming agents. It's about you saying, I do not want this treatment. I have a legal right to refuse it, and I'm exercising that right in this document now while I am competent, because I cannot. When that time comes, I'm no longer able to. And that does have to be recognized and acknowledged and followed through on by the doctors. And this is a difficult situation because doctors don't first want to get sued, and secondly, they do want to use all the tools and medications and at their disposal to prolong life, prolong life. So it's a difficult decision. If you know that's not for you, the living will is the second document that you want to get in place to make sure that your wishes will be fulfilled.
Okay. Another question about the confidentiality. We're talking about HIPAA.
Oh,
can you explain
Lord.
what that means? Because if you go to the hospital and you even have a blood draw for a test, you have to sign all kinds of releases for them to give that information to your doctor. I just think that that's pretty important. And in fact, when you join a company and you work for a company, if there are some issues about your health, there are HIPAA restrictions about how this can be shared from the company to other people. You cannot do this any longer.
Yes.
This has been in place now for quite some time.
Yes, since the HIPAA was a response to the issues and the problems recognized in the late 90s, early 2000s, caused by our electronic explosion. It was alarmingly easy for our healthcare, our private information to be disseminated from different hospitals, different employers, publicly, absolutely. So the intention was a good one, and it was the legislature's response to this problem that our privacy could so easily be compromised. So that law, there's a federal HIPAA, and then of course we have a state law to match it, in place to protect our privacy. Unintended consequences always, when we have a law that's meant to protect, sometimes it can be too strict. And I again cannot tell you how number of people have sat before me and said, HIPAA is a nightmare. I can't get any information from my father. I can't make a decision. We can't even talk to the insurance company because they say in order to protect the client's privacy, they cannot release anything. So what you need to do when you're getting your healthcare directives in place is waive your right to privacy under HIPAA. That's what it comes down to. So we put a HIPAA release as the third document in this trio of healthcare advantages. And what you're really saying is that those agents that you have named in your healthcare power have the right to get that information, even though you know the state and the federal government wants to protect you. It can turn into such a restriction that if it's not in place, the person who has to give them the authority to release the information is incapacitated in some way, be it temporary or permanent. So how can they give the authority? So we have to now, in advance, give that authority while we're competent to the people we trust so that they can talk to the doctors, the pharmacists, the insurance company. It's a terrific point. It's really important. It was meant to protect us, but it really does make it a nightmare to deal with institutions. When you're trying to help your mom or your grandparent or a family member, it can be a tremendous impediment. So we cannot discount the importance of getting that release along with these documents so that they will work for you as they were intended.
Very good. Is there anything you want to add to in conclusion of this? Because there was so much that you covered.
Yes. What I do want to is offer a gift to our viewers. As we wrap up the year, I love these documents. I just am passionate about them. There's so much good that they can do that I want to offer to our viewers an opportunity to get these documents in place free of charge, with one little catch. As any of our viewers who were recently watching Connections, our talk show, knows, my office is collecting toys for a wonderful charity called Katie's Gift. Without giving you too much information at this point, a little girl who was only 4 had some brain surgery in hospital over Christmas and realized that the other children didn't have as much as she did, so she shared her toys, and now at the grand old age of 11, every year she is sharing toys with children in hospital still. So we're collecting toys for Christmas, but not just for the season. Also, Ron, we are collecting for January and beyond. So if you viewers want to call our office, get these 3 documents in place free of charge, all you have to do is buy a simple little $5, $10, $20 gift for Katie's Gift. Call us up. Think about in advance whom you want your agents to be, and perhaps even talk it over with them. Come on in, we'll give you the documents, you'll leave them with them in your hand, and hopefully we'll have a win-win for all.
Fantastic. It's a great program, and I'm going to ask Anthony to put your plate up with your information about your address, exactly where your law offices are in Worth, Illinois, and your phone number so that everyone can get the information and respond to your offer.
Lovely.
Thank you for that.
Thank you, Ron. And just one last thing, lots of wonderful new plans for the new year. This has been a wonderful platform for me to educate viewers, not just those watching on Palos Heights, but we post the show on Twitter, LinkedIn, in YouTube and Facebook, and we have had a tremendous response. One gentleman in my office said, and he was watching on Palos Heights, hi, if you're watching right now, I can't believe that a lawyer is prepared to give us this free information, because where else are we going to get it? And he believed it was trustworthy, sound, and unbelievable. So I just feel so encouraged by that and all the other response that we have. So we're going to widen the platform. I am in talks right now to have a show on 560, so a radio show on estate planning. I have agreed.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you, to write a newspaper column as well as an online column. So, as well as seminars at my office. So this is going to be another way for our viewers to come locally to listen, have me talk about these subjects, and then answer their own questions. So of course they don't have an opportunity while we're speaking on air, but they will have an opportunity throughout 2016 to come to the seminars. We're going to have them at my office, local churches and venues. So this education about what we need for estate planning can just get more widely disseminated. So thank you, viewers, for watching, and thank you, Ron, for this opportunity.
Well, when these things start, in our next meeting that we will have, or whatever topic we're going to be on, we'll make sure people know the dates and times and things of that nature.
Wonderful.
So we'll be more specific with that.
Lovely.
Merry
Thank
Christmas,
you, Ron.
Happy New Year to you and the viewers out there. We're going to run this program through the Christmas holiday. Hopefully this will be something that will be interesting to you and something that you should be responding to. So thank you
Lovely.
again, and have a nice holiday.
Thanks, and have you a happy and healthy Christmas, and I will see you in the new year. Thank you, and thank you, Ron.
Hey, thank you. See you next time.